everyone. Welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode of
The Hafu It.
I am Kyoko.
I'm Sakura.
And this week we're talking about ramen. That's right.
Ramen.
Ramen.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, oddly enough, I didn't have ramen a lot when I was a little kid. It was more udon that I had in terms of like noodle soup dishes. But now as an adult, I ramen the house down. The only real form of ramen that I had was an instant ramen, which we will get into. Ichiban. But yeah, it's so good. And here on the West Coast, ramen is super popular. Super popular. I think out of all of Japanese cuisine, it's like sushi and then ramen. That's just kind of like what Westerners are like.
More so even just over the last like couple of years,
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what people are coming into Japanese restaurants for.
Yeah, likewise, when I was growing up, I would just say that we didn't have proper ramen when I was growing up.
Yes.
It was always Ichiban.
It was always Ichiban.
It was always packages of instant ramen, which I think growing up I didn't actually realize was ramen. I just
me neither.
always considered it because my Oba-san always called it Sapporo.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it's Sapporo. And then like ramen was, what you get.
I don't even think on the packaging it even says ramen.
I don't even think it says, does it say Sapporo on the Ichiban?
It says Sapporo
It does
Ichiban,
say Sapporo.
but I do not think it says ramen anywhere on it. So how would you know?
Just instant noodle.
Just instant noodle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always like a big part of the cuisine at home, at my grandparents' place. Yeah, like always. It was always making Ichiban. That was probably the first dish I learned how to make, and I've known how to make it since I was young. And I mean, that's not saying a lot because it is just boiling water and dumping a package into it.
As a university student, were you like all up into the instant noodle?
Well, I was a very privileged university student.
Yeah.
I worked full-time while I was in university full-time.
Right.
So I never had financial issues like that. So no. No, I was like one of the few people that I knew in university who was able to just like eat comfortably.
Right.
Afford food from like grocery stores or like regular restaurants. Going out to drink and stuff wasn't a problem for me.
A privilege to have food, but school full-time plus working full-time is a lot.
Yeah, I 100% worked for that privilege.
I would say the people who only had to go to school and had everything paid for them were more of the privileged people, but you were privileged financially.
Yeah,
she
was a self-made queen.
Honey, she's been working hard from day one.
Let's be real though, there's no other way for the Japanese community. You're saying,
we
like,
only work hard.
Yeah, and like I think the only reason I ended up doing my life like that was just because my dad, when I moved out to Vancouver, was very much just like immediately, like the second I stepped off the plane was just like, so when are you applying for jobs? And I was like,
he had applications already for you.
He was very adamant
Asian
about
father.
it. Sure enough, my first week in Vancouver, I was walking down 4th Avenue handing out my resume to everywhere.
Just as I had done a couple years ago.
And then there I was. So I actually had 2 jobs when I started out university, 2 part-time jobs.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stand one of them. But I really enjoyed the other one. So I asked to take on full-time at that job, which is the job that I'm still at today. And it's worked out really well for me.
I won't mention company names, but was it the grocery store or the cafe?
It was the grocery store.
It was the grocery store, yes.
Yeah, the cafe was before I even like lived in Vancouver. It was like when I would visit my dad during the summertime.
And he would make you get a summer job here?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, those Asian values go deep.
The Asian dads are just like out here to make you work.
Papa Sugimo is really out here
was
making sure.
So you think you're going to be on vacation here, honey? Yeah. Absolutely not.
I love how off topic this is.
I mean, we're rounding around, honey.
Anyway,
we're coming back.
instant ramen is 100% like a very common dish for most like broke students.
For myself, when I was in beauty school, like you said, it was one of the first things that I learned how to make. So I was definitely like ramening the house down.
You were down. Packs and
packs.
Packs
she was boiling that water. Yeah. Oh yeah. I would always like add things though.
Right.
Like I would always add like an egg into it or leftover veggies, like anything like that. I rarely have Ichiban just like straight up how it is. I have to customize it slightly.
I still haven't tested the waters with customizing my Ichiban.
Yeah.
Just because it's so nostalgic for me, I've literally been eating
flavor, the experience.
Specifically Ichiban Sapporo.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Since I was like a baby. Have you ever heard of You Suck at Cooking on YouTube?
No.
Okay, so there's this guy on YouTube called You Suck at Cooking, and his videos are between like 3 and like maybe 4 minutes long.
Okay.
And he pretty much just like shows you how to make very basic things.
When you suck at cooking.
But he'll do it in a very comedic way.
Yeah.
And one of his episodes is on making instant noodles. And his recipes for like spicing up like Ichiban is so sick. Okay. But it's just so funny. It was just so funny to me to watch because I was like, I mean, we've never seen his face or he's one of those faceless YouTubers.
Oh, okay.
But he has a cookbook.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like specifically targeted towards like if you're like a broke student or something like that. And I remember I showed it to my dad. My dad was like, I would try all of these recipes like now.
How did he spice it up?
I think one of the recipes was like he added like peanut butter, and like green onion.
Oh shit.
And stuff like that to it. And just made it a little bit more creamy. And I was like, that actually sounds delicious.
Hell yeah.
I think he just added a bunch of like vegetables to it and like cooked it down a little bit more, like less water, less broth.
Because I've added like hot sauce to my Ichiban, but
never
peanut butter. Interesting.
Making it into like a Thai fusion situation.
Yeah. I would want to use like an all natural like chunky peanut butter almost with like the bits of peanut in it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Because some peanut butters, they add so much sugar to it, and that's
favorite.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Craft peanut butter.
She's looking for craft, extra creamy peanut butter.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. I want that Adams.
I
want to have to sit there for half an hour trying to combine the oil with the peanut butter. No. Just trying to stir it. And
I want that processed shit.
Oh my God.
Not for ramen though. You're right. Yeah. Only for like Wonder Bread toast, you know.
Oh hell yeah. I actually never had Wonder Bread. My mom refused. It was whole wheat from day one. It was cardboard straight from day one. Oh my God.
My dad was always the one to enforce stuff like that.
Yeah.
With like he was like, at least make it like multi-grain Wonder Bread, like if you're gonna do that.
Oh my God.
So I think we did that. I think we had like white Wonder Bread for a long time, then we did multi-grain, and then slowly maneuvered into better breads. Even though like when I left Toronto, when I moved out.
Oh, she was still getting Wonder Bread,
my mom was still getting like white bread, like Dempsters and like shit like that. But again, like we were very poor.
Yes.
So it was like stuff that you could get from Dollarama.
Yeah.
But when I moved out here and I lived with my dad for all of like a year, I was transferred very quickly to squirrely bread, which is much
silver
better
hips.
for you.
We love squirrely bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that brand. When I eat bread, I want it to be like dense and like grainy.
Yes.
I don't want it to be like air.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot better like that. I do like the occasional like white bread.
Yes.
But it's like I'll have like a slice.
I like white bread if I'm making French toast
like
or something like that.
Yeah, not on its own. I mean, also on its own, but like not as like an often thing.
Yeah.
But it's like if it happens to be anywhere in my vicinity, I'll like pop one in the toaster. Oh yeah, for sure.
It has nothing to do with like the taste or the experience. It's just the
nostalgia.
Nutrition.
It's the white bread nostalgia for me.
Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think the Japanese community growing up here in Canada, we all had the giant brown cardboard box of Ichiban that you get from Costco in your pantry at some point. I never liked, do you know Mr. Noodle?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. I'm not here for Mr. Noodle in any way, shape, or form.
That's big nasty.
I'm not into that at all. It's just Ichiban or no other
all
instant
the white
noodle.
kids in my school too would always have Mr. Noodle packages, and it was always like the chicken flavor.
No. Ew, it would turn the water like fluorescent,
like yellow,
yellowy,
like green. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
not.
I always was like, I can't. Like
the white kids.
It's not like that. Yeah, the white kids be wildin'.
Have you ever had Ichiban dry?
Yes.
Okay. My mom was always like, you are going to get worms, honey. I'm like, if it only has to cook for 3 minutes, that means that it's probably already partially cooked. I'm like,
dissolves.
It's fine.
It's cool.
But you don't open the package. You just kind of like squish it in your hand and break up the noodles and then dump the sauce package into it and then like shake it up. Oh.
So I didn't do that often. I did it actually because I met someone in high school, this white girl, who was like, oh my God, did you ever do this? And she was like a little bit weird as it was. Like, I mean, we have a lot of friends who just like take shots of soy sauce. Like, you know, they really like that.
We're just out here exposing people.
That salty taste. You know who you are.
You know who you are if you're listening to this.
But no, yeah, this girl that I knew in high school was also like weird and did stuff like that. Also, like, all the power to you if you like take shots of soy sauce. That's cool.
I mean, yeah.
It was just weird for me in high school because I was like, why would you do that? You put that on your sushi anyway. So this girl came up to me and she was like, oh, like, because she saw that I had a packet of Ichiban with me, and she was like, did you like know that you can like have it dry? And I was like, the fuck?
You're like, what? This is some white nonsense.
Yeah,
you're like,
and
what
she
is
did
this?
it like with hers because I think she had one that day, and yeah, she sprinkled it in and I tried it and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of
I'm
delicious.
fully down.
I'm all down for anything salty.
But Ichiban, not Mr. Noodle.
No, fuck no. Sorry.
I live. So when do you think was the first time that you actually went into like a ramen house here in just Canada?
I don't think I went into any when I was in Toronto, which was the first 18 years of my life.
And did you like even see a lot of ramen houses in Toronto?
No, but mind you, like my living situation in Toronto growing up was very special.
Yes.
Very, very special living situation. I lived in not a very rich part of the city. My family didn't have a car. We didn't have money to take the subway, so I was never downtown unless my dad happened to be in town.
Right.
And he would take me to like Koreatown to go get actually just like Asian treats in general.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we used to go get like freshly made like red bean pancakes and stuff like that from Koreatown.
I love that.
In Toronto. But no, I never really like, there was like one sushi place anywhere in the general vicinity of where I grew up in Toronto.
That's crazy.
So no, like I've never gone for ramen proper. Before I moved to Vancouver. But yeah, as soon as I did, I think actually the first ramen place that I went to here was Ramen Danbo.
Oh hell yeah.
Because I used to live in a part of Kitsilano, and their first Vancouver location opened up on 4th Avenue.
On West 4th,
and the owner of that store lived in my building.
Shut
up. Yeah, so that was super exciting, and where I was working was also on 4th Ave, so it was kind of fun because all of our coworkers and I would just like watch it like going up and like waiting for it for forever, and then finally they were open. And then I remember one day I was leaving my apartment and there was just a giant like whoever, because they used to like bring stuff from the apartment to the restaurant. Like they used to store things in the apartment that were for the restaurant. And I think they must have dropped like a bag of just like, they have these stamp cards.
Yeah.
They dropped so many of them. And they also dropped so many like free gyoza cards.
Okay.
Because that was part of their opening promo.
Yes.
And so I took all of them and brought them to work, and all of us like would go often and still go often to Ramen Danbo on 4th Avenue.
I love it. You just kept them?
Yeah.
You were like, hell yeah.
No, they were just on the street. Come on.
They were just on the... Oh, I thought you like found them in your building.
Oh, no.
I was like, yes, mama.
No. They had like fallen out of like a bag or something like that.
Yeah, fair game.
Fair game
100%.
out there on the street. in the gutter.
Yeah. Blessings.
Yeah. So Ramen Danbo was my first ramen experience for real.
Yeah.
And that was almost 7 years ago.
Yeah. And what a good ramen experience.
Really good. Yeah.
It's awesome.
They're Japanese.
They are Japanese.
Their chefs have to be trained in Japan, which I think is a really cool thing to see, because there's rarely ever any like Japanese restaurants that are run by Japanese people. I was
just about to say, it's a running joke, especially when I lived in the Okanagan. All Japanese restaurants were owned by Koreans.
Yes, yeah.
Because there's just like the Japanese community is already very small, but like, it was like, anyways.
Anyway. So so that was always also like very appealing to me.
Yes.
So when you go into Ramen Danbo, for people who are in Vancouver listening, you probably know this if you've been, but I know now that this is typical of ramen restaurants, but I didn't back then. But you like go in and you select like your spiciness, the thickness of noodle, how soft you want it, how salty you want your broth. Yeah, stuff like that.
If you want pork broth, chicken broth, miso broth.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of levels of stuff like that. And that was really cool, because all I had, and I remember saying this to my coworkers when I was sitting there for the first time we all went, that I'd only ever really had instant ramen before.
Right.
Sapporo. So it was delicious. Ramen Danbo is for sure like a general favorite of mine. Although I think there are a lot of other Japanese owned ramen bars in Vancouver now.
It's Vancouver.
Yeah.
Ramen House is the house
Ramen
down.
Danbo might have been like at least one of the first to my knowledge.
And it's one of the first chains, I think, because there's like multiple Danbo locations now.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I did have like ramen a few times growing up in the Okanagan, because we were quite close to a family who owned one of the only Japanese-owned Japanese restaurants, the Nishis. So we would always go to Nishi, and I do remember having ramen, but I was so young, I didn't like, it was just noodles.
Yeah.
It was just noodles.
Yeah.
So I think very similar to you, I did not actually go to a ramen house until I moved to Vancouver. I obviously had ramen when I came to Vancouver at Japanese restaurants, but the first time that I went to a ramen house was also Danbo. So yeah, me, my family would just always go there every time they came down to Vancouver, that or Tamaki, which is on West Broadway and Arbutus.
Yeah.
Which is an absolutely amazing Japanese restaurant. I'll have to go.
Yeah, my friend raves about it all the
time.
time.
I think we got takeaway from them once, but
it was like sushi, I think.
We'll actually have to go in and like experience the fare.
Yeah.
There's also a place up on 41st in Kerrisdale where me and Kyoko were just hanging out.
Today.
Yeah, but I can't remember what it's called for the life of me.
I feel like our contractor from the place that we work told me about this.
Like it's so good.
Yeah, when he found out that I had been to Japan, he was like, "You have to go to this one ramen place," and it was like up in Kerrisdale.
Totally.
Yeah. Anyway, I have no idea.
I always forget to have my phone like available for me to like
during
look
all of
up.
this so that we can do research.
Yeah, there's a place up on 41st in Kerrisdale that's absolutely amazing. If you know, you know. I think like a really good showcase of whether or not a ramen house is good is the amount of people lined up outside.
Yes.
Because they always have limited seating. So if you see a lineup like down the street, then you know it's the place, and you know that the wait is going to be worth it.
Yeah, things in like Western culture, like you don't wait in lineups.
It's fast
like
food,
that's
mama.
not, everything is very quick. So there's a lot of feedback about that. Specifically, I remember when Danbo first opened. I mean, Danbo still has lineups up the block, but when they first opened, it was like a lot. And like this is all pre-COVID, of course, too. So no one is used to waiting in line or doing anything like waiting,
when
like being patient, you know? I mean, you could just see people like wait for like 5 minutes and then leave.
Oh,
because they're like,
God.
well, we can go get anyway. But yeah, it's not part of Western culture to be patient in that way for dining out.
Yeah.
Which is, I get it. I'm part of that. A lot of the time I have patience for it now. Especially with COVID, everyone's pretty used to waiting
100%.
about an hour to 2 hours to do anything these days. So, but yeah, that's a true, like when I was in Japan, that was like the number one rule from all of the vloggers that I had watched. With dining in Japan, it was like, even if you can't read Japanese, you can't speak Japanese, if you're in Japan and you see the lineup, just line up. Just get in line. Just do it. It's not, and they don't usually take very long. Because it's very like efficient in and out. But yeah, just do it and you'll never regret whatever it is that's being eaten. And that was true.
Hell yeah.
There was one ramen place that we went to in Japan because I used to watch Simon and Martina on YouTube. And they're two Canadian vloggers who used to vlog from Japan. They moved back to Canada since COVID. But they did this one episode on Kyoto, just like tips on Kyoto. And they lined up at this ramen place next to Kyoto Station. And it's something that I think only locals know about.
I love that.
Because when we were waiting in line, there was like maybe one other group of tourists, and we were like up that like around the corner, like the lineup was so long.
I love that.
But they were like, this is supposed to be like some of the best ramen in Japan. Which is a big statement, obviously, because Japan has ramen in every prefecture.
Yes.
And it's different in every prefecture.
Hell yeah.
Just like everything else is in Japan. So we did. we like set out. We were determined. We'd already had a lot of other ramen on our trip. And I was like, this is a non-negotiable for me. We have to line up at this ramen place. And I remember the third party of our group was like, there's no way. Like she like took a picture of the lineup before we got there, and she was like, there's no way I'm waiting. And we were like, cool, God. No problem. You go have fun somewhere else. And the rest of us just like stood in line and waited, I think, close to 2 hours to get into this ramen place.
Oh, shit.
But it was very efficient, and like we didn't take super long, but we were starving by the time we got in there. And it was fully worth it. Like,
yes,
fully worth it. If there's like a premium Ichiban out there, it's that ramen shop. And I promise that when I find the name of it again, I'll put it on our socials.
I love that.
So keep on our socials for that, because no regrets. I'll put up the picture of the lineup.
Waiting so long for food, I feel like even if it wasn't good, it would still be like,
it would taste good.
It would still be like worth it. So the fact that it was like super amazing just like seals the deal.
We literally took one bite pretty much of our ramen, one little slurp, and we looked up at each other, locked eyes, and just like my jaw dropped, and I think I still had broth in it. I was just like,
oh my God,
breathing heavily, euphoria,
in the middle of the ramen house. Some of the broths, like the pork broth, is just too greasy for me. It's just too oily that I'll literally I'll get sick from it. So I usually have to go with like a miso broth if they have it available. If there was soy, that's amazing. I obviously try to not eat animal byproduct, which doesn't always work out for me. But yeah, that's super cool. Going back to Sapporo Ichiban, you actually went to Sapporo.
I did.
Did you have ramen when you were there?
Oh, hell yeah. We
here we go.
Ramen. Oh my God.
Take me on a journey, girl.
First of all, so the friend that I was traveling with, we've talked about, I think, in almost every episode of this podcast.
How could we not?
Carly. She pretty much said like the one non-negotiable for her was that wherever we went, we were going to have at least one ramen place. And we were traveling all over Japan. We were supposed to, at least on this trip. So that's a lot, it's a big commitment.
It's a lot of ramen.
But I was down. I was super down. I'm a big fan of ramen. She was like, new news, honey. Yes.
She wanted that salty, noodly realness.
So off to get ramen we went. So yeah, specifically in Sapporo, they actually, speaking of miso ramen, they actually invented miso ramen. That's where miso ramen comes from.
They were the first to be like, what If
yeah, they did the whole combo. They invented miso
God.
ramen. They also came up with butter ramen.
Ooh.
Which is a whole meal and a half.
Because you were up north,
let me
so
tell
you were like,
yeah, all
give
the
us
dairy,
the dairy. Give
the
us
Hokkaido
the dairy.
realness.
Yeah.
So in Sapporo, there's the original ramen alleyway.
Shit.
That you have to like be careful about which one you're going down, because there's obviously many ramen alleyways everywhere in Japan. In Sapporo, the two main ramen alleyways are right next to each other, and one of them is the original ramen alleyway and the other one is new.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
How
because
would you know?
Because the locals don't fucking want you down there.
Like, oh my God, it's like
the locals do not want you there.
Oh, it's to trick the
they don't want you there. Yeah, trick all the gaijin to go down
God.
the other alleyway. But yeah. So we were very careful about that. We did get to see both alleyways, and that night in particular, my friend Carly looks at me and she goes, "We're gonna have 2 bowls of ramen tonight."
At 2 different locations, or just wherever we're going?
At 2 different locations.
And
I looked at her and I was like, "There's no way." And she was like, "We're doing it." So it was really, really cold, thankfully, which always helps when you're going on a ramen hunt. We sat down at one place that was delicious, and we had the famous miso ramen. And great, we went off on a walk to try to walk it off a little bit, develop a little more of an appetite. And we found this magical Ferris wheel on top of a building. And again, like, I have no idea, because this was unplanned. I have no idea what building this is. I have no idea where. Somewhere in Maine, Sapporo. And we took Carly forced me to go on this Ferris wheel on top of this skyscraper before we went and ate more ramen, which, shouldn't have been great, because the gut, scary. I'm very scared of heights.
Oh my God. And the Ferris wheel was already like on top of a building.
Yeah, it was on top of a skyscraper. We had to go up like 30 floors to the top of this building.
Ooh.
It was great because it was like 10 o'clock at night and we were like, yes. And then we came down, like, we were filled with adrenaline. We were like, now's the time.
Now's the time for ramen.
The second place that we went into was also in the older ramen alley, and it was like it was like Anthony Bourdain themed.
Okay.
Like,
there were animals like running around.
No, it was just like him. Like, they had like pictures of him everywhere. I think Anthony Bourdain had eaten there.
Okay.
And they had like his picture. And again, our friend Carly is obsessed with Anthony Bourdain.
I mean,
wants to marry the man. To marry him. He's not alive anymore, but she'd still marry his ass.
Oh my God.
And so we went in there, and the ramen guy looked at the chef looked at us, and he was not impressed.
He looked up and saw Carly and was like,
oh my God. Anyway, so we sat down there anyway. I already knew that there was no way we were going to be able to eat this second bowl of ramen. Like, no way. And
the chef already has it out for you.
Oh, yeah. Like, so I think this one, I think we both got the butter ramen that has like corn in it and stuff like that. We both ate like half of the bowl, maybe.
Right.
We got through about half of it, and it's rude to leave behind your food.
Well, I think with ramen you're supposed to leave like the last mouthful, like you're supposed to leave like a little bit left in the dish.
I don't remember what the rule is, but I thought it was like you're supposed to slurp it all down. Anyway, maybe it depends on where you are.
Maybe.
But we didn't make eye contact with the chef on our way out. We were like, oh my God.
The shame.
But we knew there was no way we were gonna anyway. But we set out to do it, and we did it.
Yeah.
2 bowls of ramen.
Oh my God! In one night.
A butter ramen bowl and the famous miso ramen.
Yeah. I would have just immediately passed out.
It was, we pretty much, like, I think we had plans that night to go get drinks afterwards, and we were like, there's no way.
There's no way in hell.
We went for another walk around the block, and there are actually a lot of hidden gems in Sapporo at nighttime. They're all bars that are only open in, like, very late at night, too. So if you're ever in Sapporo, I would recommend going on a night walk around the back ways.
Was this your bat walk?
No, that was in Kyoto.
The bat walk was in Kyoto.
Yeah. That's a different story. But yeah, no, we ended up just going back to the Airbnb and like, I think we did get like a drink, but we pretty much like sat and I think watched Ali Wong and then went straight to sleep.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you think was your favorite ramen in Japan?
Without a doubt, it was the one that we waited 2 hours to eat.
In Kyoto.
In Kyoto.
Oh, okay.
We really wanted to try to hit it up one more time before we left Kyoto.
Right.
But we ended up having to leave Kyoto in a rush.
Mm-hmm.
And we had so many different like food things on our checklist that we were just like, we've had a lot of ramen. We have to go find like takoyaki and okonomiyaki.
Oh shit.
Since we weren't going to get a chance to go to Osaka.
Yeah.
And we did do that on our final night instead. But yeah, without a doubt, it's that place next to the Kyoto train station. So I will figure that out and put it on our socials so that you guys all know.
Osaka has a lot of street food. Does Kyoto?
Not street food, really.
Yeah.
There is an alleyway near Harajuku. Sorry, not near Harajuku. God, what is it called? Yeah. It's near Golden Gai.
Okay.
There we go. It's on the other side of the river of Golden Gai.
Yeah.
And it's just like a food alleyway, and so it's a lot of like very small vendors and restaurants, and like the ones where you like cram yourself into.
I love.
You can actually, that was where we saw like the only Maiko that we saw on our entire trip. Yeah. And we were on, I think, like a Maiko/geisha hunt that night.
Oh my god!
Because we were like, we can't.
You were searching them out.
Well, we were like, we can't go to Kyoto and not find one and not like see a geisha. And we weren't staying long enough. Again, we had to leave last minute to actually go to a show like we wanted to.
Right.
Like a traditional tea ceremony. So we did see one like scurrying through the alleyways of that food.
Yes.
Alleyway.
Yes.
Which was magical.
And what were the shoes? Were they high platforms or lower?
They were the higher platforms.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, she was like scurrying.
Yes.
From doorway to doorway.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Staying hidden, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, the respectful thing to do in Japan, obviously, is to not make a big deal of them. They're not
there for
not there for your entertainment unless you're paying, honey. It's like a drag show. Like you don't God. You don't like find a drag queen out on the street and like, start like harassing them. God. No.
Drag queens, the Maikos of North America.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Come on, Trixie.
Oh my god. But yeah, similar concept. There are like photos all over Golden Gai too that are like, please don't take pictures of the Maikos.
Yes.
Or the geishas running around. They're not trying to get your attention.
No.
Please don't talk to them.
No.
Don't approach them.
Yeah.
Just be respectful.
Which
I think is totally fair.
Yeah. I've seen, like, obviously if you're at some sort of festival or something like that, and there's geisha or Maiko walking around, as long as you are like so respectful and you like very respectively ask them if you can take a photo of them.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of videos where they're generally okay with that, but it's definitely the way that you approach them.
Yeah, and at a festival too, that's like different than like
100%.
It's like 10 o'clock at night. You're walking down the alleyway where you know that you see a lot of businessmen stepping out of dark cars. You know better
out of dark cars
than to approach
my god
them or the Maikos.
Oh my god.
Scurrying in and out of the doorways.
I mean,
should you not know better?
Oh my god.
We did, in fact. Yeah, that was the bat walk. On the way to the riverbank, we walked through a couple alleyways like that.
Yeah.
Super fun. It's a topic for another day.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Yeah. We'll definitely have an episode about that. Yeah, it's really like, it's funny. My brother is super into Ichiban. Like, I think out of like all three of us kids, my brother was like the most obsessed with Ichiban.
Wonderful.
And I had stopped buying it for myself, but in May of 2020, my brother came and moved in with me and was living with me, and it just kind of like ignited the Ichiban the Ichiban fire inside of me. And yeah, since then I've just been like repetitively buying it for myself and having it very often. It's so good, and like you said, it's just such good memories.
Yeah, I
so nostalgic.
I think a couple years ago I bought Ichiban and made it for the first time in like what would have been a very, very long time, like many years.
Yeah, right.
And I took a sip of it, and I think even the smell of it like took me back.
Took you all the way back.
Like literally transported me to a different era.
Yes.
And I think I put a note on my phone that was like a prompt for like a movie script almost. And I was like,
oh, hell yeah.
I wrote it out poetically at the time, but yeah.
Ichiban the movie.
No, just like something like
starring
that, sparking
Kyoko
your memory and living in the past and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah. So ramen.
So back to ramen.
So most ramen places, from my knowledge, usually have gyoza also offered.
Yeah,
there.
A few appetizers. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a gyoza girl?
I gyoza the house down.
You gyoza the house down with your bowl of ramen?
Hell yeah. Vegetable gyoza is the shit.
Are you someone who, like, do you ever get refills in your ramen bowl? Because I know a lot of ramen houses will, like, give you more noodles or more broth, like.
Yeah, so I think when I'm eating ramen, I attack the noodle first. So I think I always.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think I always, like, end up with more soup base than the actual noodle.
Oh god, who attacks the soup first?
I mean,
if you're out there,
if you're thirsty,
there's green tea, love.
Oh my god. Well, if it's salty, you know Carly would just be like downing that like broth.
No, you know that Carly's like dousing extra soy sauce into her.
She's like
bowl.
Asking for table salt, and she's sprinkling it onto the ramen.
Dumping the entire Kikkomens into the bowl.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
So yeah, I think I usually get an extra side thing of noodle, but I'll only get it if I can share it with someone else, because I usually won't need like the full amount.
Yeah.
And then it just sits there and it like congeals and becomes like one mass. So yeah, if someone else wants to go in with me with the extra noodle, I'll definitely do it. I usually add some fresh garlic if they have it available. Bamboo shoots in ramen are lit because they're not like crispy, but they have some density to them, so it's a nice texture within the ramen to offset the noodle texture.
How do you feel about onsen eggs?
Oh my god, the eggs, the seasoned eggs, they are everything.
I'm not all about them.
Oh my god, I'm all about them. The gray.
Sweet, so you can just take mine.
The gray egg, honey, is what I look for. I search in the bowl for it. I'm like, where is she?
My senses are so sensitive. Like I can't handle.
And the yolk is just beautiful.
I can't handle the smell of it.
Really?
So it like deters me from eating it.
Okay. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, you give me your seasoned eggs, honey.
It's like, yeah.
I'll take all your eggs.
Oh my god.
I mean.
Anyway. Yeah. Do you know like what do they do to the onsen egg?
I know that they like soak it in a broth. I just don't know for how long.
So they make it like hard boiled, but like in a broth.
They hard boil
instead
it
of
because
water.
when you see the egg cut in half, the gray texture on the outside is not carried all the way through the egg.
Okay.
To my recollection. So yeah, I think it's just like marinated, if you will, in the seasoning for an extended period of time. And it's so good. It's so good.
Wonderful for you.
Our listeners, you need to support me with this.
Oh, I guarantee
Chime
you.
in.
I know that I'm the lone soldier here. Okay,
Oh,
there's
my
no
God.
need. There's no need for any like debate over it. I'm like, no, I know.
Was Carly down for the egg?
Yeah, absolutely, she was. You know that she was.
Because it was salty.
She likes all the things that a lot of people think are disgusting. So
yeah.
Yeah,
me and Carly are just gonna be out here eating all your eggs.
She's down for the eggs.
Oh my god.
What else do they put in ramen? Seaweed.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Sometimes whole sheets of nori. Sometimes shredded. I love a whole sheet. I love a whole sheet. I was just gonna say, yeah.
Nori, even just like those nori snacks.
Oh yeah.
The salty like sheets. Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah, salty.
Yeah, so good.
Do you like your ramen spicy?
I do enjoy spicy ramen. I think I enjoy spicy ramen in like colder weather. Mm-hmm. In the summer, I like a more like refreshing ramen experience. But yeah, I love spicy. I don't like order it spicy though. If they have spices available on the table, I would rather like season it myself. But yeah.
Yeah, I when I used to go to Ramen Dembo all the time, even in like the dead of summer, I'd get like spicy? The most spicy option. Ooh. But I wouldn't like, because you can control how spicy it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have like a default spicy for the one.
Yeah.
For the specifically spicy one.
She's
otherwise you can 2 to 3
add pepper, it. Honey.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'd sit there and like I'm a sweaty bitch to begin with.
Yeah.
I'd just sit there in the dead of summer like sweating.
She's already like half
spicy
naked,
ramen,
but still like sweating the house down.
Yeah, 100%. So you know that I'm showing up to the ramen store wearing like basically no clothing.
You're in swimwear.
Like, yeah.
You got your beach towel. You're like ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh my god.
Listen, sometimes the most intense flavors come out of spicy food.
Didn't you have like curry or something in Japan though that was like god. Not edible?
All right, so my first night in Japan when we landed, I told the group that I wanted to eat curry because I love Japanese curry. I stand by it.
Good.
I'm usually real good about the spice, but I've never been to Asia before. So
I've never been to Asia before.
Jocelyn.
Come on, Moira.
I got my driver's license last week. Anyway, so yeah, I told them that I wanted to go get curry, so we went to like one of the larger curry chains that they had because I knew that I wanted to go and try that.
Yeah,
and
this was in Tokyo.
In Tokyo,
yeah.
And the place that we went to had like a spice level of like 1 to 20.
Why would you do that? That's too much of a
like. It seems inconceivable. You know, like. Inconceivable. So
I can't.
We thought that we were being super smart by ordering a level 3, you know, out of 20.
Out of 20.
And I can honestly say that I've never been put in a situation before where I didn't think that I could finish my food.
Yes.
Because it was so spicy.
Because it hurt.
And they have at the table, probably specifically for gaijin like us. Like bottles of honey so that you can like cut sugar. Down on the spice, and I tried so hard to do it without it, and I could not. I had to I dumped it upside down on top of my plate like a lot, but there wasn't a lot of honey left in the bottle or something like that, so I dumped as much as I could. You weren't the first gaijins there. Again, without using all of it because that's inconsiderate and very un-Japanese of me.
Oh my
to not leave some more for the next person. And I mixed it in. It was still so hot. Like my tongue was on fire.
But okay, so on a scale of 1 to 20, if that was a 3, who's eating 20?
Listen, I don't know. Like we talked about this recently too when we were like talking about our trip to Japan, outside of the podcast. Sorry, And I was like, I don't know, like maybe it was just because we were jet lagged and we were tired. And Carly goes, no, like that curry was out of control.
Whose digestive tract is handling level 20?
No. So they probably got like a solid laugh out of us being there that night, especially because at the end.
What if they saw you and they were like, oh, they want level 3, honey? No. We're going to kill this gaijin.
Oh, I mean, we were there like in like off season. I say that with money air quotes.
Yeah.
Off season because when is really off season in Japan.
Right.
But it was off season mostly because of COVID.
But it was like the end of February?
It was March, yeah. Beginning of March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so almost exactly a year ago.
Crazy.
And yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, I don't know. We weren't staying in like a particularly touristy area. So
they're like, let's get
it's
these
possible,
people.
but it's also, it was like their chain.
Yeah.
Like a chain restaurant. It wasn't like we went to like a random place in like an alleyway, which we did on other occasions, and that was great. But yeah.
I really want to experience this.
Yeah.
If we do go to Tokyo, I'll just get like whatever that one dish was.
I'll literally get level 0.
Yeah. Ah! minus 20.
I will not risk it again because I love my Japanese curry, and I was so fucking put off by it.
When you're like bringing it up to your mouth and like on your skin, you can feel
it, like,
heat
burns,
coming off of it.
It like singes the remaining like hairs of your mustache off.
Oh my god. The little wispy Japanese mustache is gone, honey.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Oh my god. I love it.
Yeah, food varies kind of like everywhere. I know that ramen is very particularly, it varies here in the Western world, especially because it depends on the training of the chefs at the restaurants and what they know, especially because ramen, you know, comes from Japan, and in Japan it varies by prefecture. Again, like everything else. So the broth changes by prefecture, the ingredients change, the training level.
There's a whole culture in the ramen
It's an entire
world.
culture in Japan.
Apprentices, the masters. Like,
and it makes sense. Like being there and being immersed in that entire culture, it totally made sense. And coming back here, I have only eaten ramen once. And it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Be real.
But it's good. Like, it's still good here. There's lots of good ramen options in Vancouver.
Oh, in Vancouver, definitely.
I don't know if there are a lot of good ramen options in like the mainland in Canada.
Probably not.
Probably not the same. We're just we're on the coast, so
we're
closer
on the
to
coast.
Japan, closer to all of that. A much higher Asian population.
That's why we live on the West Coast, is to be as close to Japan as humanly possible.
It was like where the light meets the sea, you know.
Oh my god.
I could feel the West Coast calling to me, so I moved all the way over.
The Ring of Fire, honey.
The Ring of Fire.
And after that Japanese curry, honey,
the Ring of Fire.
The Ring of Fire.
Okay, you're out of control. So if you ever find yourself out in Japan and you like are a huge ramen fan, would recommend having as much of it as you can, because even in Tokyo, like different restaurants do it differently. Some of them have their own like branded instant ramen that you can actually get packaged at stores with their recipes and the instant noodles. So
oh, did you see like ramen to go in 7-Elevens?
Oh hell yeah.
Like, not like Ichiban, not like packaged, but like...
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, no, the Japanese would never with ramen. Even here, like, you know that the ramen places are Japanese owned when they don't do takeout.
Yes.
Or when they do takeout, where they like have a separate container.
I need to watch you
from
eat
the
it.
Noodles and the broth.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because it's just not fresh.
The chef needs to watch you eat.
You need to have the noodles at the exact like cooked.
What?
Firmness.
Come on, cook
as what you requested. Otherwise, it's not what you ordered, and it would be dishonor.
Totally.
So absolutely not.
Yeah. I love it.
Get yourself down to them ramen places.
Hell
eat the ramen. Tell us what your favorite ramen is, what your favorite ramen house is. For those of you who are not located in Canada, please do tell us about what ramen selections you guys have. I'd be interested to know.
Oh, we'd be so interested.
Y'all in Russia, all of
France.
our friends in France.
Hell yeah.
Tell us about your ramen options if you've got any at all.
Oh, a French ramen house?
Yeah, it'd probably be interesting.
A Parisian ramen experience? Oh my god.
Oh, Sakura's
my
full
French
like
blood
mixed
is
background. Is like on fire.
It's on fire, honey.
Yeah, you can let us know on our social medias. Yeah. I am on Twitter and Instagram at This Is Kyoko.
Yeah. And where can they find you on TikTok?
And on TikTok, I'm also This Is Kyoko.
Yeah. Go check her out on TikTok.
And Sakura is available on Instagram.
not available, but I have an Instagram that I never use.
That you can probably reach out to her on.
So if you want to reach out to me, I'm at saku.miki. So you can find me on Instagram. No other platforms are available yet, but you can find me there.
And, if you don't want to follow along with either of us individually, we totally understand. And you can just follow along with the podcast.
Yeah.
Only on Instagram at Hafu It.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in again this week. We know it was a chaotic one. We appreciate that you're always along for the ride. And we can't wait to talk to you guys again next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.